All right, all guests coming to you via the Fire Wings hotline. Try one of their delicious flavors of wings today. Fire Wings, just wing it. We continue on the drive. We bring in our next guest, our resident quarterback, Sean Salisbury, joining us here. Sean, we were just talking a few moments ago about the game last night and the play of Cam Newton. Certainly not the dual threat quarterback that we've become accustomed to. What's wrong with him? Does he look right to you?
No, I think physically he's beat up, and I'm not so sure that mentally he's not as well. You know, you think about all the hits and the stress that Andrew Luck went through. I'm not sure that Cam Newton hasn't gone through more when it comes to just and he's very. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this league that are more protected than him, and he never shies away from a hit. There's some things not to like about Cam Newton's game. He's not really accurate. I mean, last year 68%, but normally he lives around 59 or 60. But there's a lot of things too, like explosives. They're not going to win many games without him. He grinds. He's been extremely durable throughout his career. The body language may bother some, but he just physically does not look right. And I start to ask the question, guys, when does he decide, and it's starting to grind on me? He doesn't look like he's having fun, but when you're losing and not playing well, I get it. He hasn't thrown a touchdown. He's thrown like 90 passes or close this year. Has not thrown a touchdown. I know it's only 2 weeks in, but he doesn't look like the MVP guy. Special talent, but I think it's starting to wear on him. And I can tell you this, when mentally you're beat down, the physical pain hurts a little worse, and then you start to grind on things, and before you know it, you're squeezing the ball a little harder. I think Carolina's in a little bit of trouble because I'm not sure they can win much without Cam, and right now they're not playing great football with him. He's trying to grind through it. I feel bad for him, but start to wonder, when his contract's up, do you pay him 3 years, $100 million, 5 years, maybe too much? I still think he's worth it, but it's a little more risky because his body's beat down, you can tell.
Sean Salisbury with us. Sean, I know we got a truncated interview here, and there's so much stuff we want to ask you. I want to start because you are in Houston, and there's a lot of Houston-centric stuff going on that we're very interested in. We'll start with those Houston Texans. What was the reaction on your radio show to Bill O'Brien's decisions, from the spending 2 timeouts on a replay to the, I don't even want to call that a prevent defense. He actually, I believe the safety for the Texans on that final drive was in Amarillo. He wasn't even in the stadium. How did that go over well with Texans fans?
Neither one went over well. The first one, as far as the 2 timeouts, but that's been a problem for Bill since he's got here. Yep. And part of the reason is he has too much on his plate, Dave. Yep. He's a head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the general manager. So you're scrambling around to find out, well, where's the next play? What are we going to do? Defense or offense? What's Romeo going to do? Romeo Cornell. And before you know it, you're scrambling around to use a timeout to get a call. And then why didn't he get the call, the red flag in before that? Then you lose a timeout because you missed the call. It's just crazy. Got to be better. Got to be better. Great coaches manage clock and they lead people. Bill struggles at both at times, but I think his team improved. They're a better football team this year. I actually feel better about them coming out of that game than I did going in. The offensive line will get better. The secondary's got problems now. On that last call, and we blame it on O'Brien, but Bill doesn't call the defenses.
Sure.
He does not call. That's Romeo Cornell. Now, unless Bill went over there and trumped him and said, listen, you're going to run this defense. And what they did, they pressed on the upper left, and then they played off coverage with the corners on the inside slot corner and the corner on the right, and then they had coverage behind him. I didn't mind the guys being deep behind him. You're saving away. They had no problem. It was the right where Drew Brees threw the football. You threw it to a guy 9 yards off inside coverage when you got 6 seconds. Now think about this. He threw it 3 steps in rhythm. Ball came out in 3 seconds, 2 seconds, catch it, get down, able to call a timeout. If they would have pressed him and taken the receivers off their mark, he would have had to take a hitch. That hitch would have been an extra second. By the time the ball comes, they may not even have got to use the timeout. It was a poor defensive design. Romeo's been great his whole career. They missed on that one, and you gave the most accurate quarterback in the history of the game a free run that I would have made that throw, let alone the guy who never misses a throw with accuracy. They made a couple. There's a lot of reasons you lose a game. Those were just a couple of them.
All right, last thing for you, Sean. We got the Oakland A's out here in the Bay Area. Went into Houston. I've never seen anything like those first 2 games. It was like a heavyweight fight, and then the A's actually pulled 3 or 4 out of this series. I think Houston's the best team in baseball, but do you think the A's have something to say about that in the playoffs, or are you still not sold on them?
No, I listen, and you know how I feel about Billy being a lifelong, 40-year friend. We were talking about it on our show. If you had to play like a wild card, if you had to play the Cleveland Indians, the Tampa Bay Rays, or the Oakland A's, on my show, we asked that question this morning. I chose Oakland. Now, I know that most of the games this year they've played, the Astros have won, but the last, 9 of 11, whatever it's been, the 8 of 11 or something, the A's have gotten the best or there's some statistic the second part of the season, and they came into the building of the best, what some think is the best team in baseball, and beat them. We usually refer to the A's as scrappy. We don't know a lot of names. I'm going to tell you what, Olsen, Chapman, they got some studs, and they got some bullpen guys that could come in and pitch lights out. They are dangerous because they're in the division. They see the Astros a lot, so that makes it a problem. Now the Astros with Verlander and Cole up front become a problem for anybody in the way they can match. But I really loved the way that the Oakland A's competed. They scare me. And if they happen to play the Twins, depending on where the Astros finish, they scare me. But I never overlook an Oakland A's team because they will grind and got nothing to lose. The Astros are really good. Bullpen at times has been suspect, bullpen at times. And after the 8th inning, Dave, get a load of this. The Astros, when they're down after the 8th inning, amazing statistic for a team this good, they're 0-47.
Wow.
0-47 when they are down in the 8th inning or later, which is phenomenal for a team that's that good. So, yeah, I don't think the Oakland A's are just a by-the-way team. I think they're dangerous if, they get in and take care of it. And trust me, A.J. Hinch knows about Oakland. I promise you.
Well, Sean, great to catch up with you. I know it was brief this week. We'll do it again next week, and have a good weekend.
You guys are the best. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. As always, sorry I was in a Specs meeting, which is a liquor store. Got out of it, but hopefully I'll give you double time next week if you want. I appreciate it.
Got to make that money, Sean.
There
that comes first. Totally got you. See you.
The Drive.